how do you explain this? 9 years ago, you were coaching this trophy. I can only do it Jesus Christ for giving me this
And all right, we are live. YouTube.com/TYT Sports. We appreciate everybody jumping in. CEO Jake Uger of the program, of our network, is here. Michael Schur, biggest Virginia fan ever, is here. J.R. Jackson, at a birthday party, also here under a streetlight. So what did we just see? 41-33, the New England Patriots finally got beat. What seems like it hasn't happened in a Super Bowl in the longest of times. Yet, as I was logging everybody on, I saw Michael and I saw JR, and I'm trying to get a few more people on as well. And Jank could not have looked more disgusted. So, Jank, why? Why are you so sad?
Are you kidding me? I've never been more excited in my life. So, I've had issues getting out of this hangout because I'm a tech spaz, of course, right?
Yes.
Let me tell you something. I mean, I don't know if you can see how red my face is. On a limb here, typical. You might think it's hyperbole. We could have this. I think that was the greatest game ever.
Great how?
Period. Great how? Great question.
Great how?
That was Ali Frazier. One punch after another. Two champions. That was no letdown. That was not 23 and it. That was it. That is what you want in any sports, any. That was athleticism, gamesmanship, championship defined.
Very much so. I think what I liked most was that it was, aside from Tom Brady's fumble and Nick Foles' INT, like it was a clean game. Like it didn't feel like there were any penalties that were bogging it down. There weren't a lot of punts. The only failure that we had, aside from Jank's internet connection, was that the kickers in the beginning just had some trouble. Like aside from that, I thought it was, guys, like a super clean, easy on the eyes sort of game.
Okay, Let me explain something. There was one punt in the
right. The Eagles punter didn't punt, not once.
Yeah.
Oh no, Patriots punter didn't punt once. Eagles punted once. They had over 1,000 yards midway through the fourth quarter record. Tom Brady 100 yards passing with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. In the third quarter, losing. That game was unreal. Still, they might never play a game like that in our lifetimes.
Why is there a picture of handsome Jank just kind of showing up at the bottom there?
I have no idea.
All right. It's just there's like I see JR, I see you, and then I see Jank's headshot, and then real Jank.
You want to know what it is? There's two Janks.
Oh,
it's two Janks.
I know the one. I know someone.
So it takes two Janks to make one internet connection.
So we've learned. JR, ecstatic?
My sound completely went away because I got a phone call and I declined it, and now I can barely hear you guys.
All right. So why don't we do this?
Why
don't you
I
give
assume
it?
You're trying to talk to me.
Nah, no, not at all. Why don't you hang for like 30 seconds, and if it doesn't work, then I'll call you back. Michael, what was? Oh, and he just crapped out. Michael, as you were watching this game with what was it? $1:05 left. Did you not think that Tom Brady was probably going to just lead another comeback?
Yeah, the 8 points. The 8 points was what had me. I know they were down by 8 last year. They came back, they tied it, and then they went to overtime. It wasn't with a minute 5. The Eagles just seemed possessed after that. After they forced the fumble, it seemed like they were not going to let go of this game.
Right. There was one play, obviously, leading to the fumble. Hang on, Jay. One play that led to the fumble that I thought the broadcast pointed out really well. was that they lined up a linebacker at nose tackle, which is something that did not work the entire freaking game. And then just the one time it happens in the biggest spot of all that led to the Jake Elliott field goal. JR, what were you going to say?
There was some themes to this game, and it's to, I guess, to add to Jake's point about the greatest Super Bowl, because previous to this, '99 Super Bowl when my Rams won was my greatest because of the drama of the ending, and as we talked about, Rick, Mike Jones, who
Who?
stopped a
Who?
slant. Mike Jones,
Who?
who
What's his phone number?
a slant pattern from 5 yards, 7 yards out is the hardest tackle to make, but he made it at the goal line. It was the most dramatic ending, but this was the most dramatic ending necessarily, but it was just consistent throughout the whole thing. There was themes. Okay, so early in the game, the Patriots pulled their trick play because everyone's trick play in the Super Bowl because every team has been studied so much that you got to have three
Yeah.
new plays. So there was the trick play where there's a reverse or there's a dump off to the running back, and then Tom Brady is wide open. Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but he's not athletic. There's a difference. There's greatness. There's being able to throw the ball, but there's athleticism, right?
Yeah.
He couldn't catch the ball.
Right.
Worth, I love him, but gave him a pass. Oh well, he had that hand injury. No. He
Right.
Preach
Well,
it, brother.
and also it
Preach
saved us. It saved us from having to watch that play over and
great
over.
point.
And had he made that catch, it would have been one of the most nauseating highlights to have to watch.
Well, that's
Now-
why. That's why now the one of the greatest plays now in NFL Super Bowl history, certainly, when it's 4th and goal and the Eagles go for it at the end of the half and they do the trick play and they go to Foles. Number one, they went for it on 4th down. Number two, they do a trick play. Foles catches it, unlike Brady missing it.
Right.
There's the theme of there's one of the themes of this game. Like, one quarterback who's the greatest of all time can't catch a simple drop in your lap pass.
Yeah.
But Nick Foles, who's been ousted from 3 previous teams, makes the catch for a touchdown that makes the difference in the game. I mean,
Look, I'm going to take it one step further, as usual, which is that play was the Eagles saying, Ace, we're not going to let up. We're going to keep punching you in the face, intimidated by you. What you can do, we can do better. It was a trifecta. It was a hat trick. Not only enormously important in scoring that touchdown for the game, but it set the tone. That made the difference.
JR, real
Absolutely.
quick. JR, do you have headphones or anything, because we're getting a bunch of static on your end, probably from something going on behind
well,
you.
it's because there's a serious train traveling right behind me right now. It's like
You know what that is? That's the
there's a
victory
cargo
train.
train. There's a cargo train right behind me, traveling from Los Angeles to Oakland.
You know what? No, that's LeGarrette Blunt behind you.
Fair point. Nick Foles, guys, Super Bowl MVP. I never thought I would ever say that ever in my life.
Yeah.
So,
So that begs the question. So I'm gonna do my Rick Strom impression.
yeah, here we go.
So let's conversation. So what happens to Nick Foles next year? You have Carson Wentz, who is obviously a star. Nick Foles comes in and wins a effing Super Bowl for the Eagles for the first time since what, 1968?
Yeah.
What happens to Foles?
He becomes a very expensive backup is what happens, because Jacksonville's going to want him, the Cardinals are going to want him, Denver's going to want him all of a sudden.
Cleveland Browns are going to want him.
Yeah.
Yeah. The New York Jets are going to want him. Like almost every team that didn't make the playoffs are going to want a piece of Nick Foles. What the Eagles should
And
do is try to.
He may cost Kirk Cousins some money too.
That's a fair point as well.
Yeah.
What'll
No,
happen?
no.
What the Eagles should do, real quick, Cenk. What the Eagles should do.
I don't know why you're bothering with this, Rick, because Cenk knows the answer.
Yeah, Cenk, go ahead.
So look, Nick Foles is the most valuable quarterback ever. So depending on whether he has a good coach
Wait, the
or
most
a bad
what?
coach, variable quarterback ever. Okay,
Variable.
and he must go to a good coach, otherwise he'll be wasted. So head to Minnesota. Stay in Minnesota. Just stay there. Buy a house.
I agree with that.
Yeah, if he's the Vikings quarterback, Vikings Eagles rematch in the NFC Championship game next year. Bananas.
Well, okay, so actually, no, I think I said on sports as well. If the Browns want to finally turn around their franchise, what you do, you're going to draft another, balls to the wall quarterback out of college. And this is the way things are supposed to work for a good quarterback. If they get like the UCLA kid Rosen, or if they get the USC kid, right?
Darnold
You
or
don't want him
Kyle
to
Allen.
the fire. So you want them a year to learn under someone who knows what the hell is going on. Now that's if they have a coaching staff that knows how to work this. So you take Nick Foles and you let him mentor your new guy and let him play this season. I mean, look what happened to Aaron Rodgers. He learned under one of the greats. Not that Nick Foles is one of the greats, but now he has some experience with multiple teams and knows what he's doing. You're gonna groom your next quarterback to actually have success past right away because the Browns right now need anything. So try to build something rather than just
Yeah, but
go
Nick
from
Nick
0 to
Foles.
But
100.
But
it,
here's the thing: Nick Foles isn't the answer for Cleveland. Like what you need is a complete
No, he's
rehaul,
not
which
the
is what they're
answer. No, no,
it's what
no.
they're trying to do. Like you need to fill so many other positions instead of drafting guys named Rambo. Like try and just draft some quality players, which is what they're doing because they just hired, I believe, Scott Pioli as their new GM. So it's much more than quarterback. Like this is the team that from years past took like a 35-year-old Brandon Whedon. The last thing they need to do is throw money at a guy who just had the game of his life and arguably the playoff run of his life because we've learned from the Baltimore Ravens previously that you don't want to handcuff your entire salary cap to a hot quarterback run in the playoffs that leads to a Super Bowl. Like, I think Nick Foles should.
yeah.
I agree with Jank. Like, Nick Foles should go to a team that has good coaching. However, the one thing about Minnesota is they just lost Pat Shurmur, who got the best out of Case Keenum. He now left for the New York Giants. I don't know who's going to be their offensive coordinator, and you're going to a team where the head coach is a defensive guy. So it also depends on how the pieces fall in Minnesota for who gets hired as their coordinator.
Well, also, I mean,
All right. Let me see.
they do have Keenum. They also have Teddy Bridgewater, who they like out there. I don't see them going after Nick Foles at all.
Well,
I mean,
all
I
three of
just
them are
don't.
free agents, so they could go after whoever.
Right.
But I hear
That's
what you're
what I'm
saying.
saying.
Yeah.
So let me just say two things about Nick Foles. For God's sake, Nick, do not listen to these guys. Don't go anywhere near the Browns. Don't go anywhere near the Jets. You'll be back to crappy Nick Foles, and you'll be useless. And okay, so Vikings go to a great team with a great coach, and there aren't many. Zimmer is, I think, the second best coach now. Look, there's Belichick, but I'm saying this year it was Peterson, Zimmer, then if you ask me. And so stay there. Now, more important point about Nick Foles is he nearly perfect game.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was as good as it gets. And I can't believe I'm about to utter this sentence. Phil Sims like.
Oh, no. Don't open this up, please.
Stop.
No. Look, no one dislikes Phil Sims more than I do in America, but that's as a broadcaster. And I think he was an overall mediocre quarterback throughout his life, but he played a nearly perfect Super Bowl. And this was Nick Foles playing a perfect Super Bowl, but instead of scoring like 12 points or whatever Phil Sims scored, he scored 41 points. And hence, arguably, pretty great quarterback performances. I don't want to do hyperbole, but it is definitely one of the best quarterback performances.
Yeah, it was flawless. It was so good. Even the interception was not. It was not on him, and it was a fluky kind of interception. But I also want to throw the Dolphins in there as a possibility for Nick Foles. A good place for him to go.
He would go with Adam Gase, who got the best out of Jay Cutler. I just don't know if they're giving up on Ryan Tannehill that quickly.
No, come on.
I'm serious. I'm serious. Like here's the thing. Like as we all know, the egotistical nature of everybody in the front office of any organization wants to always be like, hey, we drafted this guy, we're gonna wait it out as long as we possibly can, and then right when they have a good season, they're like, see, I told you, because they don't want to look stupid for just giving up on something. Do I think they
But
should?
how many
Yeah, but I
of
don't
those
think they will.
people that were involved in the Tannehill draft are still there? I mean, that's another part of it. I don't know, but it's been a while.
It
Okay.
has, yeah. Real quick, everybody watching on the live stream, we appreciate it. Some people have said, "What's up?" Some people have said, "Was it a catch?" Tom Brady is still the greatest football player of all time. He played great, says Anthony Bryant.
Look.
So yeah.
Let's do two things. Look, I'll throw out. So I want to go back to the two catches, Ertz and Clement.
Yeah.
Super important. Before we do that, I'm going to ask a silly question because it's impossible. But Brady last year, what's the better quarterback performance?
Wait, say that again. You cut out.
Brady last year or Foles this year? What's the better?
Foles this year because you don't believe that Nick Foles could do anything of that sort. So like you're always striving to see something you've never seen before. So Nick Foles.
A good answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also because Nick Foles is never going to play a game like that again in his life. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Not even against the Cleveland Browns if he plays them in like week 2 of the 2018 season.
Remember, Nick Foles, the guy who threw 6 touchdowns in his first starting performance, right?
Uh-huh.
So don't count Nick Foles out. That's what the Patriots learned.
Yeah, I mean that's probably. Listen, the Patriots learned that today. Those, it was great before you get into what they were both catches because they were both catches.
Yeah.
Hey Joy, those two calls like against the Patriots. That is unprecedented in all my football watching of that team.
Yes. And I have a nickname. That was justice on top of justice.
But you know what the worst part is? But you know what's so horrible? Like, that's justice for some reason, when in reality, it's just the right call. Like, why does the right call have to be, like,
You're right.
so
You're right.
thoughts?
Why should Chris Collinsworth, who knows a lot more about football than I do, and Al Michaels, and us, why not know what a catch is if we're football?
Okay, I have a theory about Chris Collinsworth. I love Chris Collinsworth. This is the first game of my life. He's number 2 behind John Madden of my favorite analysts for NFL football. Right? I love Chris Collinsworth.
It's like a mile, by the way, between 1 and 2. Just throwing that out there.
It is.
I don't even think so. I think Collinsworth's better than Madden. I think Madden was overrated.
Actually, I thought Madden was underrated. But the thing is
steaming hot
tonight.
He couldn't possibly be underrated. He's either or overrated. There's no way he could be underrated.
Chris Collinsworth. So tonight, Chris Collinsworth called multiple plays where he was like, it was no catch, or it was like, oh, I don't think that was pass interference. It was a good non-call. I was like, Chris Collinsworth, I think, this was my theory, Collinsworth was rooting for the Eagles tonight, and he didn't want to expose himself. So he went over the top to make sure he was calling the game in favor of the Patriots.
Stop.
Like he was rooting for the Eagles.
Stop.
No, stop, because this was out of bounds. The degree to which he was. This is totally the right call.
Wrong. This is Tom Jackson level of when like Jank was still on sports in like 2009 when he was like, well, the reason that I said they weren't gonna win is because I wanted to motivate them in order to play a little better. Like this is already going down the conspiracy theory bullshit rabbit hole that I cannot allow you to continue.
That's not conspiracy. These are human beings, right? So these are human beings, and if everyone's rooting for someone,
conspiracy theories.
Okay.
If you're broadcast,
my simpler theory is on the Patriots. A little bit more direct. But look, but most importantly though, I'm the one who took the crazy pill. Like we all agree they were both, and Collinsworth, who we all like and respect, was mental on the.
Absolutely. And it was because he wanted the Eagles to win, and then he couldn't. He didn't want to look like he was. All it was. So he went over the top. He went too far. That's all. I still love you, Chris. I still love you.
So
So Doug Peterson,
What a
good Lord
game.
Jesus Christ, after the first thing he said when he was after the game, which was disappointing from where I sit. But
so look,
Bradley
I
Cooper
don't.
pointed to the sky after a touchdown late in the game as well. I noticed that.
So look, where I stand on this, I think the idea of not picking sides is preposterous. Why was good on the side of the Patriots last year turned on him this year?
yeah,
Maybe it was Trump voting the MAGA hats. I don't know. But okay, two things about that. Number one, after the Eagles won, I was pointing to God. Okay. Second of all, corner exception. And by the way, Carson Wentz is also incredibly religious, right?
yeah, and Nick Foles apparently too.
Yes.
If you're a great football player, what gets you there? God bless your heart. I don't want to get into your life, and I don't. I don't want to know your politics. I just want to
How
enjoy your
you know them?
football.
Yes, seriously. Uh, there was a. I'm gonna read some of the comments in a second. But if there was like a game ball that I could give, I know it's like really underrated. Unlike how I use the word correctly and some use it incorrectly in context to John Madden. But it would probably be the Eagles' offensive line because Nick Foles had all freaking day to throw. And what was the one time? And they're showing the replay on ESPN of the reverse play on the kickoff with 58 seconds left, which was incredibly
That was
stupid,
weird. Yeah.
incredibly stupid, and so
No, it wasn't. No, it
unpatriots.
wasn't.
Why?
I'm with Jared, but go ahead, Jared.
Well, the thing is, like, you have 58 seconds, and just because you're the Patriots doesn't mean that you're invincible. Just we believe so. They still need to try something. The Eagles were like, okay, my friend, my friends that I've known since forever. We noticed he's been playing since junior high. We noticed Eagles were popping. Like there was helmets and there was shoulder pads popping all night. So you need to try something. Just because you're the Patriots doesn't mean you have to. And it was worth a try because they're ball hawking. You try something that's gonna turn them around, and it was worth a try.
I agree with
Yeah,
you.
and
I agree with you, but it's
uh,
very unpatriot-like to do something that is so risque and out of the ordinary down the stretch of a game to run a trick play like that. Like I would think, like even Sean Payton had an onside kick in the third quarter, like not with
Yeah.
58 seconds left. That's why it surprised me because you were already getting the ball from when from whoever the returner was had it. It was like at the 5 or 6 yard line. So they didn't want you to take it at the 20. They wanted you to run it out. It seems like with the position that they had, you probably could have got to the 20 if not further. Essentially what you're doing is like a goal line formation. Why would a team go in the shotgun instead of going from the 1 or 2 yard line? I just don't understand the
no,
risk
but
that you would take in order to go backwards 5 or 6 yards from where you previously were.
no, I totally don't agree. So here's the thing: both sides took plenty of risks. Both sides were really courageous all game. Both sides had trick games plays throughout, and they nailed it. They did a great job. But not every trick play works. But you got to take okay.
Uh-huh.
Even at Deion Lewis because he had a run back on you in the playoffs. Everybody concentrating on Deion Lewis, and you need to play. You don't just rest on your laurels with Tom Brady just because it didn't work. In hindsight, shouldn't have done it. I actually think it was a perfectly good thing to do. Although I do agree with you that it's unpatriotic, like that they love the ball in the 25.
Totally.
So for them to do a trick play to try to get more is different, but then that's what Belichick does. He has the element of surprise. He does different all the time. So I totally respect that.
Yeah. Also, going for it there was another fourth down that Peterson went for it that was not the touchdown, which I thought again, but Doug Peterson's balls should get the MVP of.
No, but look, that's right. Now, look, two things about that. One, to Ricky's game ball for the Eagles offensive line, with the exception of one incredibly important play, the Patriots offensive line, same thing.
Yeah.
Second half, they could not get to Brady. I was losing my mind. Get to him, and they
Yeah.
couldn't get to him with that amazing Eagles defense. And they sliced and diced that defense, and that was not a nonsense Pittsburgh defense. That was a goodness, one
Oh,
of the top
by the
three
way,
defenses.
I'm not gonna say who, but I know why Malcolm Butler missed was not playing on defense.
Why is that?
Why?
Uh, to pull a pure media move, a source told me that he missed the team flight and he was benched because Belichick doesn't put up with that sort of shit. So they played somebody else. Do I think that won or lost them the
Well,
game?
but he played special. But he played special teams though.
Right, but in a Super Bowl, it was still a humongous demotion to be the number one corner to then be special teams gunner.
Yeah.
So he
And
missed
see
his team
that?
flight,
See, Ricky, if that's true,
which it
it's
is.
a little too cute by half, right?
Totally.
I get that Belichick is setting the tone, like Peterson was setting the tone with that fourth and goal play,
Yeah.
in a sense. If that's true, at a minimum, let him play the second half.
That's what I
You
thought.
made your point.
That's what I thought. So when I was texting with this person, they were telling me that like, no, it is a Belichick way. It is a coach's move. If you miss anything like that, you are not getting it back unless you're down to injury at that position.
That's too much. But
No.
okay, so to go back to Michael's point, um, it's deserved. It's one of the greatest games ever, if not the greatest game. Doug Peterson, best coaching performance in a Super Bowl. Um, I'm not even sure it's close. I mean, yes, check bless his heart, or not so much, but given on all his wins and all those. I mean, remember the upset win against the Rams? Hey, there are a lot of great coaching performances. Yes, Sean
Well,
Payton.
Sean Payton, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I think that onside kick was one of the ballsiest Super Bowl history. But Doug Peterson, to Michael's point, and fourth down in their own on their own side of the field at the end of the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievably courageous call, one after another. And then I'll add a second superlative. He doesn't win the Coach of the Year, which is one of the greatest crimes in American history.
Yeah.
So as a whole season, the regular season and the playoffs and the Super Bowl, one of the best coaching performances in a season.
I
ever.
agree. What we remember about Sean Payton is like he had a few, but the one ballsiest call was kicking on sides and recovering, and then of course Tracy Porter, Indiana University, does his thing down the stretch with a pick six. But like there were, for as many ballsy calls as Sean Payton had in that game, it seemed like there were double the amount that Doug Peterson had. Where you're thinking like, okay, he's just gonna punt. Okay, they're just gonna kick. They're gonna get away from this. It doesn't. No. They're gonna give the ball back. Every time that he had an opportunity, not only third down conversions, which were heavily in favor of Philadelphia, but then the fourth down conversions over and over. And as you guys said previously, Jr. did, who just got back in. Good. With the trick play on the goal line, like he out ballsied every other coach that I've ever seen in a big game.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised at how much agreement we have. I thought that I was going to come over the top, and you guys were going to try to.
Well, I mean, your John Madden point was pure and utter trash. But aside from that, I think we're almost all on the same page. Yeah, why don't we get back into that? So, like, your opinion was John Madden is overrated or underrated? He said underrated, right?
No.
Oh,
JR said underrated.
JR said
I
underrated.
overrated.
Okay. Why is he overrated?
So you and Michael are vehement that he's rated.
Yeah.
Well, no. What I'm saying is that he cannot be underrated. He has put himself into the realm of being either overrated or simply rated. He's not underrated.
Well, that's definitely true. No,
Yeah.
look, and Madden's main thing was boom, bush, wing, right?
You just sounded like Chris Berman more so than Matt.
But Madden transcended the X's and O's, which he was very good at too. I mean, he could tell
Absolutely.
you how they were going to line up at, but he was also a football fan. But so there was this part of him that was infectious and different, and it wasn't about analysis. You either liked that or you didn't. But in the same way, and I compare him a little bit, and this is maybe generous to this guy, but Chris Matthews is like that for politics, where he loves it so much, he just gets so damn excited about it. Madden had a little bit of that, but Madden could sit there and tell you the X's and O's before a play and after a play, and I don't
Absolutely.
think, and that's when the telestrator happened, right? When you would start whatever
Absolutely. No, John Madden.
Yeah.
Please. John Madden was an innovator. So when we watch NCAA basketball analysis on ESPN pregame, and they have the fucking touch board, and they pull this and pull that and touch this and pull that, and then they do the X's and O's and boom, boom, boom. That's all John Madden. Now, it was key to all of the technology, and he did it with just a pin on a screen, man.
Yeah.
And then it made everyone understand the importance of an offensive lineman and everything he entrenches to smallest degree that springs a running back. Everyone gives running backs all this credit, but the offensive linemen are more important than anyone else, and that is the basis of your offense. And he made that.
He let people know about the offensive line, and Jank is now making, it's a rare face, but I think he's making I find myself convinced by Mike, which he's not good at it, but let's see.
Here's three things I have to say, about maybe four. So, number one, I can't believe that John Madden is dominating the conversation which maybe goes to your point about how overwhelming he is. Number two, I know another guy who gets animated about what they do. So, in this corner, Collinsworth, maybe Buck and Aikman. I know you guys are going to go nuts. Some might go nuts. Even Romo, I like some of their analysis better than I like Madden's analysis. But actually, the winning point, Madden being an innovator, that's a really great point. And so my fourth point overall is this is a hill to die on.
Fair enough.
Wait, do you not like Romo, Jank? I felt like you were
I do like
shortchanging Romo.
No, I do like Romo. I put him in the list of Collinsworth and
He did. I don't like Romo that much.
Why?
I just don't think. I think he says a lot of dopey stuff. Like he's a good thing, but I think but he's also new. I'm giving him a little benefit of the doubt, but he says a lot of dopey stuff.
I think he provides more. I think he sort of like Adrian Wojnarowski with the NBA draft. Like he tells you what's going to happen before it happens, which I appreciate because then I'm looking for it, and it validates his football mind that a lot of people can really learn from, more so than Collinsworth.
Is there a way we can find out how many people clicked off after you said sort of like Adrian the NBA draft?
By the way,
sorry, Adrian Wojnarowski, hey, he's a tough player. He's a really good guy. You wouldn't believe what he did in that third period over there, man. He really gave us a lot of speed. Boy wants to
right, so
fucking
you're gonna come in. Listen, Strommer. You're gonna come in with the Canadian accent stuff. And I tweeted this earlier, but they now have this Lombardi trophy, and they have this woman with the white gloves, and they walk it down, and everybody's touching it, the Torah, and they're trying to pretend it's the Stanley Cup. It's the Lombardi trophy. Nobody knows. It's the Super Bowl championship. Nobody knows it like.
I agree with you. So what you're saying is it was cut from the Stanley Cup. Like they took a model from the NHL. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, Michael is once again right. This is the most, another hyperbole, number of I've given in a broadcast. And I got no lucky that nothing beats Lord Stanley, bring out the brandy.
Brandy. Yeah, that's right.
But you know what? But you have to start from somewhere, and you start copying because the next you know, in 20 years, people are going to forget about this random sport that we used to call hockey, and then we're going to people are like, remember when the NFL trophy comes out with like the white gloves so they don't put any fingerprints on it? It's going to become their thing. It's worth a try.
It's
worth a try.
Yeah, shoot your shot. What's the best trophy in sports? I think it's a Stanley Cup.
It's a Stanley Cup.
It's
There's
a
no
Stanley Cup.
question.
Yeah. It's bigger. It's
It's
bigger.
so-
It's better.
Our only problem tonight is how much unanimity we have.
No, it's true. The worst trophy, the baseball one.
The World Series trophy?
Yeah, with the pennants on it and stuff. That's ridiculous.
The pennants is unique in its own way. If I were to rank the trophies, I'd probably go Stanley Cup, Larry O'Brien trophy, World Series trophy, Super Bowl trophy, World Cup trophy.
No, World Cup's pretty cool too.
No,
All right,
World
look,
Cup is too
I'm almost
small.
gonna-
It's too small.
Exactly. So the problem is it's the presentation again. Stanley Cup, they're like good publicists,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You let every player skate around with it over their head. They drink a fucking beer out of it, and then they skate around and you
Bathe their kid in
for a
it.
day. Then they get it for a day
Yeah.
and just do whatever they want. Cereal out of
These
it.
are this is a winning publicist award for this trophy, not because it looks the best, but because like it's the coolest that you get to do with.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
great
You know?
That's a great point.
Thinking of how to make the NFL trophy have a cool saying too. Lord Stern, bring out the fern. No, that would be the NBA, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say you blew it.
Lord Tagliabue.
The Lord Lombardi trophy. I'm cool with that. Yeah, just make it bigger. Just make it bigger and keep building on it, like the Stanley Cup is. Okay.
So
Jake
I
clearly
mean,
wants to
I would
go.
love to.
So real
I'm
quick.
almost going to run out of battery on my phone. So let me just say a couple more things about how great the Eagles were. I'm over.
Would anybody be mad if I kicked him out of the group chat right now? By the way.
No, he's getting along with me. Don't you dare.
Okay.
Mike wants to add to the record. So even the way they hit the creases, like Clement would run it just right?
Yep.
Corey Clement.
You know,
yeah.
he'd find just the right crease to get the first down. The only guy who was, as usual, a little disappointing was,
Was who?
Torrey Smith with
Torrey Smith, but you don't. I mean, what did you expect out of Torrey Smith anyway?
Right, he's like 35 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about that helmet-to-helmet hit either. That was a
On
brutal
Brandon
hit.
Cooks, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
that was part of the reason that I went with the Eagles. I don't know if can I say, but anyway, I went with the Eagles in the second half.
Mentally.
It matters. It matters losing your best receiver. I mean, obviously Gronk is, but best wide receiver, right? You're down to three white receivers, right? Hey, bounds the reason. I know you're the Patriots. So, no, but seriously, like, there are no Chiefs. Like, Kelsey goes out and they're like, Titans. But it matters if you lose one of your best players. And in a game like this that was razor thin, difference.
For sure. Yeah.
I agree.
That's-
With
that's
Malcolm
why
Butler
you
being
hit-
out and Brandon
That's
Cooks
why
being
you
out.
hit that fucker. Hit him in his face. Hit him in his chest.
But like
Make
the
him
thing
cry.
is, it wasn't intentional. Like it was Brandon Cooks
Hello?
just going into a defender because he didn't know where he was and he was trying to make a play. He didn't even
You
know
know
where
what?
the other guy was, so it couldn't be intentional
If
at all.
I was Crooks' teammate, I'd say, hey, you fucked up. You should have gotten down.
Yeah, I'm
That's-
not
it was his
that
fault.
to a guy who just left the Super Bowl with a concussion, but I hear you.
Hey, we just lost. I get to blame.
That's ridiculous.
But it was definitely not a bad hit. He didn't know where Cooks' head was going to be
Totally.
when he was tackling him. And that's why I want to give the Pats offensive line even more credit, because held together enough for the Patriots to have an amazing second half, despite the fact that they're losing Cooks. And look, Brady's first half was a little shaken.
Yeah.
The reason why I think that he dropped that pass, he alligator armed it a little bit because he doesn't like to get hit. And they hit him in the first half. And then they were trying to hit him in the second half, but they just couldn't get to him. So, and this is why this was the greatest game, because both sides played like heroes. They played like champions. No one let up to be better than the other side.
Right.
And that's exactly what you want in a game like
And,
this.
and at the end of the day, Donald Trump wanted the Patriots to win. That's all you really need to know. And Chris Long from Cromer,
Virginia.
right? He is now, he can't stand the president. I'm sure he will be one to speak up and say, "I'm not going to the White House." So there's that.
Totally. Here's a
I was
crazy
always
stat
wrong
that
on
the
the
broadcast had on Brandon Cooks, which speaks volumes to both of your points. Tom Brady to Brandon Cooks, passing more than 20 yards downfield, 16 completions. That's the most by a teammate in a season for Brady. So he was integral in this game.
Yeah, even more than Randy Moss breaking year.
Yeah,
Fair
that's
point as
crazy.
well. Yeah, seriously. All right, Jake, did you have like two more things that you wanted to say before your battery died?
No, shockingly, no. I can't. And look, you know what? I'll say this. And Stromer, I don't know if you remember this. Remember when I stopped by when you guys were broadcasting I think on a podcast. It was like week 3 or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And you said, "Who's going to the Super Bowl?" And I said, "Eagles and Chiefs." Now, in hindsight, what was I thinking with the Chiefs? How was Andy Reid ever going to win a playoff game, right? They had a great team. Kareem Hunt 4 times in the second half against the Titans.
Yeah.
And every play. Why didn't you run Kareem Hunt?
Seriously, give him the ball.
One of the top 2 running backs in the league. It's unreal. Anyway, but I was on the Eagles from day one. I bet on. I was with Peterson before the season. Coach of the year before the season began. I was said Wentz would win the MVP before the season began. And this is a point I made on Old School last week. I said, and this is, I think, really important for people to understand. Losing doesn't mean you're a loser. Playing nervous, not having the courage to make the calls makes you a loser. So even as the
Like
Eagles
Doug
lost
Marrone
a
against
bunch,
the Patriots.
absolutely. And so even as the Eagles lost a bunch of games last year, as I watched them play, I thought, no, these guys are winners. They're doing the absolute best they can. They're making the right calls. They're being courageous. And Wentz is really calm under pressure. Great next year. And that's exactly what they did. And I'm super proud of them. And to any play that plays the Patriots, if at any level in any sport, if you're a kid out there, no fear. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care if it's the Patriots in the Super Bowl. You might be intimidated by in your neck of the woods in Pee Wee or high school or anything. Give them what you got. Give them what you got and see where the chips fall. And that's exactly what the Eagles did.
I'm surprised.
Hit him in the
that Eagles-
motherfucking mouth.
Huh?
Hit him in the mouth.
Hit him in the mouth. Look,
Hit him.
JR just took the words right out of my mouth.
It's like he hit him up. I cannot believe that we're only a few years removed from Chip Kelly, and the Eagles went to the Super Bowl as well. Like I thought that this team was. It was sort of like how Ben feels about Norv Turner. Like you got to get the stench out a little bit. Like I thought this would be.
You'll be able to say that, Stromer. You'll be able to say that about the 49ers this time next year. Can't believe we're only a few years away from Chip Kelly. And we've won the Super Bowl.
Michael, you keep adding to the record. Now you're showing.
Write it down. Write it down.
JR, what is one thing that they always disagree on the show? I need some discord.
Chuck
It
Schumer.
starts with a J. Starts with a J and ends with an Ustis Democrats.
Which is ironic because I just deemed this game justice on top of justice.
No. Jank and I agree on just about everything.
Yeah, totally. I can tell.
No, we really do. We agree much more than people think we do.
Somehow, some way. All right, I thought that was solid. I think this is a good. I think this is a good post game show. Let's end on a high note of Michael and Jank agreeing on something, and Jr. just like always chiming in with "I know" or "awesome."
Or hit him in the
Oh,
mouth.
Hit him in the
what the
mouth.
No,
fuck? I
I
have
go on
way
this.
more to say than that.
Wait,
That's
no, no,
bullshit.
no. Epic rant about what you should do in Pee Wee and high school football. JR says, hit him in the mouth. Michael's like, yeah, what JR said.
That was really motivational. I felt like the 1980 Miracle on Ice team that Disney put out. That was solid.
And I'll end on this. Last night, I was in Mardi Gras, back in LA now, but I ran into Chris Moore, longtime TYT fan and member, and he gave a bunch of shout outs. Tell Michael and tell JR they're awesome. I'm the next day on there with you
Telling
guys.
us.
You guys are awesome.
All right, Chris. Thanks, bud.
That's awesome from Chris.
Throw
All
him
right.
some beats for me.
We are out of here. We hope everybody enjoyed the post Super Bowl 52 live stream. JR and I are doing sports tomorrow. Michael Schur is always going to be in. And this is Jank's last appearance, so I hope you all enjoyed it. We will see you all tomorrow. Like the video, obviously. Subscribe at youtube.com/TYT Sports. And we'll see you during the week. Thank you, guys.
Peace.